physically, emotionally, all of that.
Right. Well, this is great. I think just the fact that you're going there is great.
Hi, Gail.
Hi there.
Okay, we'll get Darlene here. Okay. I'm missing her.
I'm there. Are you there?
There you go. That's good.
Okay.
Hey, so we got Darlene Smith, Diana, Gil,
And
Hi,
Laura.
Darlene.
myself. Oh, Laura's
Hi,
there.
Gil.
Yes.
I'm here.
And your first name's off here. Cassweir. What's your
Oh.
first name?
My name is Chris.
Chris
So yeah,
Cassweir.
that's my, so my last name is Zwaymer.
Oh.
So the K.A. Zwaymer is the email address.
Oh, okay, I
So-
got it.
Yeah, so my name is Chris. Chris Zwaymer, yeah.
That's good. How's everybody's machine working? Gil, could you talk?
Yeah. How do you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you do sound good.
I could just see the top of your eyes, though.
Yeah.
And Laura, I don't see her. There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
I didn't add, they add.
And Darlene, you have a
Alexa.
Darlene, do you have a camera?
Yeah, but I put no. I don't know. Maybe it's too late to go back and get it. But
No, just click the button.
What planet are you on? Okay, wait. I have a plus and a minus on my button. Anything else?
It should just be like a video camera. It should be a
Yeah,
line in
but
it.
I put to do it without video.
If she's comfortable like that, we can always, me and Darlene can always talk to each other and then try to figure it out on another time, on another.
And I can hear her and
Right.
she knows what, she
Yeah.
knows what I look like, so.
Okay.
Back there too.
Oh, I see. I could take it off if you want. You want me to try it?
Actually, I put no video because I thought
Oh.
it looked so bad.
Okay, I'll leave
Right.
it then.
There'd be days when I would do the same thing.
So I'll stop.
Okay.
I'll talk. to you.
Diana, you're all dressed up.
That's what
From
I
the-
was gonna
From
say.
this way up, from this up.
And I have some makeup on my T-zones.
I saw this thing on Facebook that I loved. It said, "I'm so excited. It's time to take out the garbage. I wonder what it's where."
I saw that too, Darlene. That was funny. You're probably in your pajamas. That's why you don't want us to see.
Actually, I had a shower and got dressed.
Yay.
That's
I like
good.
your background. Warren,
Thanks. Outer space.
what planet are you on?
It's just a different solar system. It's better than what's there right now.
Now, Warren, is this going to be the number for future ones too?
Yeah, it's actually my phone, my house number, so it's really easy for me to remember it. Yeah, I have the upgraded
Okay.
version.
Thank
What's that?
you. I'll make a note. Thank you.
Yeah.
So do you think the fact that sometimes you all sound and I may sound like we're from another galaxy, is there anything that I can do setting wise on my computer to impact that? Or no?
Yeah. See, you just cut off at the end there. So
I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to kind of research it. But like I said, I've seen professional newscast people having the very same issue.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, okay. So just let me know if when I am talking.
it's probably feedback.
And I will repeat myself.
It's probably feedback from when you're talking. By the end of the conversation, end of the line, it's hitting the speaker.
Oh, maybe.
That's what it is. So if you want to use your cell phone, I don't know.
Well, honey, you're wearing headphones, and
Yeah.
so far I haven't heard you break up. Does everybody hear him clearly, or does he break up also when he talks?
Pretty good.
She's
And what
clear,
it is-
but Darlene breaks up.
Yeah.
I actually, all of you are breaking up for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even Warren?
Somebody was trying to call me. I think that
Mhm. I don't know how, do you think it would be, you think if I tried my cell phone, that might be better?
Yeah.
So I just go on the link from from the email you sent and try it that way?
Yeah. It should. Maybe it'll take you to an app. You have an iPhone.
Yes.
He'll take you to an app, and then you just type in that number.
Yeah.
Okay, download from the App Store.
So, Gil, I was trying to find a way to get this virtual thing done quickly, but I didn't expect to cause a pandemic. You know, I guess I should have been a little more specific in my
Yeah,
prayers.
that's so sad. It's
They
funny.
They misunderstood me.
Me and Warren have been locked up for a whole week.
I can't use my phone because I don't remember my
Yeah.
Apple
Apple
ID.
ID.
All right.
Well, next time.
Yeah, we'll do
That's
it
fine.
next time. I mean, we were having a conversation a little bit about how many clients are you seeing now?
So right now, I only have 3 because there were 3 or 4 that stopped because we were at a point actually where it was reasonable for them to stop. I do check in occasionally just by phone just to say, hey, how are things going? And so at this point, I just have 3, the 2 I see at home and the 1 I see in the clinic. Now for me, this is something since Megan and I just opened our business in January. I do this part-time while I still work my other job, and we're hoping that we were hoping before the pandemic set in that we could do this full-time ultimately.
Okay.
There's
Your
a
movement
something
is-
on. Excuse me, there's something on here that you could raise your hand, so you don't step on each other.
Okay,
Does anybody see that here?
no.
Honey, where's yours at? You said you had it.
Mine is when I click on my screen, things come up, and on the right hand it'll say more. And when I click on more, it'll say if I want to raise my hand, which I can do that now.
You see that little
We
blue
don't have
hand?
that on.
Oh, I don't have that.
I don't see that.
Yeah, so I think it's only you, Warren.
Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that when Darlene moves her head and her body, it seems to interfere with the production of the sound.
Oh,
Okay, I'm not moving.
You mean
that was
Chris is-
better.
I was gonna try to get the picture back and I gave up on that.
I could do
I
it.
tried.
I'm curious. I'm curious as because we're hearing the static. I'm wondering if that's only because we're doing video and whether that would be the same if we did audio. Just curious about that.
I don't know.
I can see if I can Google on my phone while we're on.
Right.
Static.
Okay, you can do that, and then I can tell Gil and Laura and Darlene what we were talking about.
Okay.
About what I thought. I thought it was a good idea that she was actually keeping in contact with some of her clients, because if somebody's by themselves, she's actually checking up on them to make sure they're okay on top of doing the physical therapy thing.
Yes, because
So-
people need to
There you
keep.
go, I got
things
you.
local. Oh, there she is.
I got a window behind me, but
I see you.
It's another.
I see.
That's better.
Okay, so it says
Yeah, it's Darlene.
acoustic,
that better?
Oh, the static though. There's static.
acoustic feedback occurs when sound that comes from a pair of speakers creates a loop that circulates back and forth between the speaker and your microphone. If you're experiencing acoustic feedback on Zoom, you must first find out the reason. Well, yes.
There could be properties on your microphone that you could.
So it says if your computer lets you have the option of playing back your own microphone's audio through its speakers, that can, if you have that enabled, that can be a problem. But I don't have that enabled.
You have earphones for like listen to music.
Yes, I might.
That may help you.
I have mine. I'm wondering if I should. Where are mine? I don't know where they're at. Dang it.
Nice background.
I don't know where my headphones are at.
There you go.
Shoot. Where are my headphones?
I don't think you need them.
No? I mean, I sound staticky too, though, when I talk, don't I?
Not really.
No.
You're okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm moving away a little bit away from the window. I tried closing the blinds, but it's still a glare.
No,
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
How's that? All right. So, Chris, you want to try it?
now, Darlene, you said you're, because you guys usually have it on a Sunday. You guys also tried doing it through Zoom?
We haven't tried it yet. I did a book group. I was part of a book group. I wasn't the leader that meets at the UU, and we tried it with that group. And 9 of us worked, got on and discussed the book. I haven't tried it with my group yet.
Okay.
The Unitarian Church has access to the Zoom, though, through the ministers, so she could help me if I wanted to try it.
That's good.
I don't know if all the members could be able to do it or not. I just kind of threw a note out there that it's a possibility.
Okay. Chris, you want to try your voice?
So all I did was turn down my volume.
Okay. You sound good.
Okay.
All right. So, Chris, you work at Harmony, right?
So yes, so right, Harmony Speech and Physical Therapy is a practice Megan and I opened after being, and I'm sure she told you when she came in, we've been therapists for 25 years, working in different systems, and decided that given the way healthcare is going, we wanted to be able to provide quality services, and in many of the big companies out there, it's more geared toward producing units and billing and money and not what's best for the patient. And so that's why we decided to open our own practice.
Good. It's working out.
It is. People that we have seen have been thrilled, and it's just a matter of getting the word out there. And obviously right now, it's not a great time to own a small business and be starting a practice, but we are keeping in touch with people. We both have a lot of years of experience and know what we do well, and are not afraid to say, oh, that is something we don't do well. We would recommend you go here.
Right.
And provide resources, not just therapy when you have, especially in physical therapy, seeing 4 people at one time. That is, not
Right. You don't have to
the way we
juggle
like
it.
to do things. Mhm.
And do you have the Part B? Is that where you bill like the Fox Rehab does?
So we
people's
do,
homes?
we're outpatient, so that is Part B. We also accept Highmark, Capital Blue Cross, obviously Medicare, and then we can bill out of network for Aetna and some other insurances.
Right.
We also, if need be, so I do see a couple people in their home, and I was just going to start a gentleman who has Parkinson's disease, who had been going to the boxing group in
Right.
Carlisle. And he really has had some decline. His wife really wanted him to be seen in the home to see what could help him in his home. So we can actually do outpatient services in the home. It doesn't have to be home care.
Right. It's good.
But I have some things, I don't know, and I'm sure you all, have had a lot of different types of speakers come in, but I have a couple things, if you're interested, to talk to you about what I consider to be the most important parts of your physical activity and balance, as far as how to make sure that you are keeping on top of your Parkinson's disease and doing your best to maintain your physical activity. I don't want to preach to you though, so at the same time, I don't want to assume you don't know
Right.
these things.
Yeah, we like a lot of information, so it's never
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
You can
well, so then-
preach a little.
Okay. why don't I go over some of these things, and then you certainly can add in insight, anecdotes, interrupt me, whatever, and let me know. But in my years, so I've been a physical therapist for 25 years, working with mostly individuals who have had either progressive neurologic diseases or strokes or head injury. So in that time, I have seen a lot of what works and doesn't work. What I recommend, and I'm sure you have probably heard this before, hopefully you have, is your flexibility is going to be honestly the most important thing to maintaining your mobility when you have Parkinson's disease. So what I mean by that is, in order for you to move freely, you have to have freedom of movement at all your joints. The more stiff you become, the more difficult it is to have that freedom of movement in all your joints. So maintaining flexibility is ultimately what's really most important to allowing you to have freedom of choice in your movement patterns.
Right.
And Parkinson's disease tends to limit that just by its nature.
Right. So they say that if you don't do anything, you end up being immobilized in a bed.
Yes. So one of the big things is I wouldn't, and these are just simple rules of thumb, don't be in any one position, whether it's sitting or in a recliner or unless you're taking a nap, but for more than an hour before you get up and move.
Right.
So ideally 45 minutes.
What about in bed when you're sleeping?
So when you're sleeping, yeah, that's okay. You don't have to get up every hour. There you go, Gil. Perfect. So the problem is, even in general, we all get stiff as we hold a position for a long period of time, right?
Right.
But when you have Parkinson's disease, that stiffness settles in and makes things that much harder. So you don't want to sit at your computer doing work or in a recliner or anywhere. You don't want to hold any one position for more than an hour without getting up and moving. So and during these times, it's actually a even better reminder. So making sure that you are getting up and moving around is one simple thing you can do.
Right. You do that, Darlene? Do you
Yes,
move?
that's good.
You move around a lot?
Yeah, usually, but I can tell if I've been sitting a while and have to pull myself out of the chair
Yeah.
and I'm stiff, I can tell.
How about you,
But I'm
Laura?
not exercising like I had been when I went to the gym.
Yeah, that hurts now because you can't get to the gym.
Right.
They're all closed.
Well, I can talk about some things that you could do at home as well.
Good.
I should do my big exercises and I haven't been.
Yeah, right. And that's just it. So there are some things, though, that you could do as part of your everyday routine that could at least get some exercise, a little bit of exercise in when you're limited with what you can do and where you can go.
Right.
Right.
And Laura, do you still do
Um,
exercises?
I do, but not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I'm lazy, but I try to get out and walk every day.
Right.
If I don't, I would work on the treadmill. But I'm having a problem with freezing. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen where I have a tile floor.
Uh-huh.
And every time I turn, I lurch because I
Yeah.
don't slowly think about turning.
Yes.
I go the speed I used to go. And I'm concerned that I'm going to fall on the tile floor. I've done that once.
Yeah, and that's going to be painful because those tile floors are not forgiving.
No,
Do you use a walker or cane or any support system?
no, I don't.
Okay. The reason I ask is if you feel like you do move quickly when you're doing things in the kitchen, sometimes having something there that more than just the counter that you can rest your hand on to sort of give you another contact point might just be something that would be helpful. And I mean, like, even if it's the a walker, handle or something like that. Because, and obviously the best thing is, but we don't all think this, think through before you move. But if you're in the middle of cooking or something, your mind's not on moving.
and the hot water's running, you want to turn it off, or the
Yes.
pot's boiling.
Yes, exactly. So that brings me to my next point is the balance, which is next to flexibility. And you need to have flexibility in order to have good balance. Balance is extremely important to be successful with your mobility. In order to stay upright and to be able to move freely, you need to have balance reactions. Oftentimes our balance reactions are automatic. And in order for us to automatically catch our balance or do something to keep our balance, you need to be able to, again, have the flexibility in your joints. If you don't, balance reactions do not work as well. So that's another thing. And then, of course, strength and endurance are also important, but in what I have found over the years, flexibility, balance, and strength and endurance on that scale. So that strength and endurance are very important, but strength and endurance don't do you much good if you don't have the flexibility and balance first. And it depends on where you are also in the disease progression. Ideally, you will find an activity that incorporates all three of those things
Mhm.
in the same activity.
Did
That
you
would
find,
be ideal.
do you find that,
Housework.
Housework, yeah.
yeah.
Housework.
Do you find that a type A personality is more likely to fall than a more relaxed person? Because it seems like I know when I have trouble, I'm kind of laid back. I don't get upset with myself, but if somebody just has enough and just go for it, I could see them
Yes.
falling.
The other thing is everybody's Parkinson's disease impacts them differently. So some people end up with more cognitive changes
Right.
earlier than others. And so sometimes there is some more impulsivity with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
the
that-
other thing is if you're going to do an exercise program, you will get most benefit from it if you time it to be about an hour after you take your Parkinson's medications. So when you are optimally medicated, you will get most benefit out of your exercise program,
Right.
which doesn't mean you can't exercise other times.
Mm-hmm.
But so if we think about during the times we're in right now, what could you do? So before you get out of bed in the morning, you could, and I could send Warren, I can send you an attachment with some pictures of some things because it's hard for
Good.
me to demonstrate now, but lying in your bed, bring your knee up towards your chest, right? 5 times each side.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. Lying on your back, dropping your knees to one side, dropping your knees to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple, easy things you can do before you get out of bed to warm your muscles up, to increase your blood flow. The other thing is working on pressing your head and shoulders back into the bed. So you're working on extension because sometimes when you have Parkinson's disease, you get crouched forward. So those are some easy things you could do before you even get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could work on your balance when you're in the bathroom doing your self-care. So standing there while you're washing your face or brushing your teeth, you could rest your hands on the vanity and close your eyes if that's safe for you to work on your balance with your
Mhm.
eyes closed. You can weight shift side to side. So there's a lot of things you can do sort of as part of your regular day.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting up and down from a chair. When you go to eat and you're going to sit at your kitchen table, do 5 or 10 sit to stands from the chair at every meal. That way you've
Right.
just done, 15 to 30 really good exercises for your butt and your hamstrings and your quads
Mm-hmm.
at each meal. So there are things you have to think about, but you can sort of incorporate them. Walking, like you said, is excellent. And getting fresh air, obviously, those things are excellent.
Mm-hmm.
You could stand with your hands on your countertop in your kitchen and raise up on your toes and then rock back on your heels. So there are things that you can do, and obviously cooking and cleaning and folding laundry, all those things we all thoroughly enjoy doing,
Oh, yeah.
really does challenge our balance in terms of, you know, we're turning, we're moving. So those are ways to do that. But in order to, since we're limited with where we can go, you have to be creative about where you find the ability to work on exercise, at least for right now.
Right.
One other thing that I didn't talk about is taking the time to do large amplitude movements. So have you all heard of the LSVT program?
Yes.
Yes,
The big.
Yes.
Big and loud.
The reason that program is successful, there is research that backs that moving with large amplitude movements resets your movement control. And so exaggerate what you do. When Megan teaches, you know, when they do the loud crowd here and they talk about speaking with intent, it's the same sort of thing. So if you're going to move your arms, move them big. If you're going to walk across the room, walk with big arms and big legs. That actually, research shows that improves your motor control substantially and recalibrates your nervous system. So that would be something. So when you do go out for a walk, can you walk taking nice big steps and exaggerate it? Those are things that will be extremely helpful. And if you do those consistently, so you don't have to do it the whole walk, but if you're walking, take 30 steps every so often, and do 30 steps, really big arms, big legs. If you're going to do lunges, do big lunges, make sure you have support. And so you're exaggerating the movements. There is huge amounts of research that shows that that makes a difference. So don't care what you look like or what people will think.
When you walk the dog, you can get away with walking like that. It doesn't look as strange.
Yes, you're right. Because that you can blame it on the dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
He
there's
does
gonna be a
it
run
more
of
together at
dogs.
the mall.
Yes.
Yeah, because I find when I can't even get out of the house with my dog, but as soon as I hit the door and I go outside, I could walk perfectly.
So there is, because there's a rhythm to it and things.
Right.
Now, sometimes if your dog pulls in different directions, that can cause people to stutter step and things.
Right.
In that case, you take a nice big deep breath and regroup and start again. And that
Mhm.
does make a difference as much as possible.
Right.
So there is also evidence that shows that exercise allows you to utilize your dopamine more efficiently. So it
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily cure your Parkinson's disease, but allows you, because Parkinson's disease is an illness of dopamine in the substantia nigra. When you exercise, it utilizes it more efficiently. So you get improved transmission. So it is important to stay moving as much as you safely can. And that can be modified based on how safe you are or what your balance is like.
Does that
Could I
increase your dopamine?
Could I
Exercise.
interrupt? Warren,
Yes.
a friend was going to try to get on. Maybe she's not trying now, but Agnes,
I don't see her.
let me see. She was a member of our group. I told her to try again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Unless
wanted
was-
to ask the question,
Mm-hmm.
does the exercise increase your dopamine?
No, it can't increase your dopamine, but what it does is it allows you to use the dopamine that you have. The transmission is improved.
So I'm using up my dopamine.
Well, you're not using it, you're using it more efficiently. So you're getting more benefit from the dopamine you have.
Okay.
And you're probably keeping your muscles flexible.
Well, you're also doing that. So you have the physiologic benefits of exercise, which increase blood flow, flexibility, which we all gather, but also for all of us, but especially those with Parkinson's disease, it allows you to use the dopamine you have more efficiently, which in the long term then prevents the progression of the disease as fast. So it really is very important, and it depends on who your neurologist is. Some doctors are really good at talking about it, and I've been to other support group meetings where I was shocked at how little some of the people knew about their disease because their doctor hadn't referred them to any therapist or movement specialist in any way to help get them more information.
Well,
So it depends.
My neurologist and my previous neurologist, I don't get much information from them. They
I'm
just
sorry, I didn't
check-
hear you.
They don't check. They check on my status,
She's
but
in.
I don't get any information,
Mhm.
valid information to improve my plight.
And so that's why exercise is important. We are creating a wellness program here that is for individuals who have Parkinson's disease, that is for flexibility, balance, and strength. It combines all of those things. And it's geared toward people who have neurologic disabilities, whether it's multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's disease or have had a stroke. So we're creating a program like that. When we're done, I'll give you our Facebook page and our website, and you can look at that. We're designing it now. The other thing that's important, which people forget, is to have a tune-up, just like you do for your car, every 6 months or a year with a very qualified therapist that you trust and feel comfortable with, is important and not out of the question, and is very much covered by insurance because of the nature of the disease. And so if your doctor is not suggesting that, for you to say, you know what, I think I need to go to a therapist. I found that my balance seems to be getting worse, or I feel a little weaker, or my speech isn't as good as it was. And then the therapist and you can set up a plan. It doesn't mean that you have to see that person forever, or, so you do a short grouping of sessions to devise maybe an update to what you're doing at home, or to even work on your motor control. And that can be a plan that you and the therapist create together. And in 6 months or a year, if things have changed, then you kind of touch base again with the therapist. So that is the best way to prevent the progression of the disease, is to have someone that you feel you trust and are comfortable with to keep you sort of checked in, and make sure that in the meantime you're enjoying an exercise program, that it works for you and is safe for you and doesn't cause pain or harm. And then when things, if you have some time where your balance is worse or something, then you see that person to then work on some different things that you don't know about to improve your function and get you back. So my concern is that we as therapists need to educate the doctors more about the benefits of movement and how this can impact the progression of the disease beyond just medication. Because there's so much that can be done. And the earlier you start, the better you will be long term. Now, it's never too late to start. And I don't want this to sound like a commercial for myself, because it's not. It's just good information. And I think doctors forget that because it isn't their primary focus. And we as therapists need to do a better job.
I never had a doctor actually recommend physical therapy.
I know.
I've
And
done it
that's
3
alarming.
times. Yeah, I had to go on my own.
That's alarming to me,
Yeah.
because physical exercise and therapy, and there are so many great programs out there in terms of speech quality, cognition, movement, balance, that you need the medication. It's not going to replace the medication, but will prevent the progression. And understanding what activities are going to be most beneficial for you, you can only know that through seeing a qualified therapist. And so we as therapists, and that's one of the things Megan and I are trying to do, is to go out there to family doctors or neurologists, because some people aren't even followed by a neurologist. Are all of you?
Yes.
Okay,
And
good.
she pushes therapy.
And who's your neurologist, Darlene?
De Jesus Hershey.
Okay.
We have our visitor. She came.
Yes.
Her
Yeah,
name-
she
what's her
spoke. She spoke with, you had a large group that day.
show? Yeah. I mean, your friend's here.
Oh, did you get her? Is she
Yeah.
on?
You don't see her?
I- No?
Huh. I see
Okay.
her.
She's right next to you.
I have
On
a
the screen.
question.
Mhm.
Honey. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When you were talking, and it sounds like you have to be your own advocate, obviously.
Right.
Now, does it require a referral from a doctor? Because if we're educating people through our support group meeting, telling
Mhm.
them, that you should be doing this, this, and this, do they need to go to their doctor and ask for a referral?
I went to my
That's a
family
very-
doctor.
That's a very good question. So in Pennsylvania, a physical therapist can see an individual without a doctor's referral for 30 days.
Huh.
Beyond 30 calendar days, you need a referral from a physician. You, depending on your relationship with your physician, you can say, look, my Parkinson's disease is acting up or whatever, and call, and you can get a referral that way. Some physicians will say, oh, I want to see you in the office first. Oftentimes what I will do is initiate an evaluation, and then I will call the physician and say, look, I saw this person, they came in, these are the issues that I'm seeing. Would you agree that they would benefit from physical therapy? And if so, would you please send me a referral?
Okay.
So oftentimes it can be done that way. And it doesn't need to be, if your family doctor is more convenient, like Warren said, it can be a family doctor, or it doesn't have to be your neurologist.
Mhm.
Okay.
But if you come and pursue therapy, you need to have I'm sorry, let me back up. Physical therapists need to have a direct access license in order to be able to see people without a physician's referral. Not all physical therapists have that.
So
But
we need that license then.
so it's an add-on with additional continuing education that some physical therapists like myself have. Not all physical therapists have that.
Okay.
But if you call a facility, you can say, oh, can I see a therapist without a referral? The other thing I would make sure is when you go somewhere, and you do need to be your own advocate on multiple levels nowadays, unfortunately. Make sure that you are satisfied with what you're receiving, and don't just assume that what they're doing is best for you if it doesn't feel right for you.
Okay.
So if you go somewhere and you feel you're getting a cookie cutter approach, oh, yep, you go on the bike and then you do this, and I'm going to be over here seeing these other people, that is not what you need. That is not what is going to benefit you as much.
Right.
You need more personalized programming to meet your individual needs. Because you could, in my mind anyway, and this is my own opinion, but you could go to a gym and do that on your own. You don't need to be going to see a physical therapist for that.
Yeah, I know. Or get a trainer.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
If that these services would be covered by Medicare.
I'm sorry, I don't know that. Can anyone hear that?
It
'Cause I
it was
didn't-
very low. It said if they're covered by Medicare.
Oh, yes. So Medicare and all other insurances cover physical therapy services. Wellness, like a wellness program or going to a gym or seeing a personal trainer, is not. However, Medicare does cover what's called maintenance therapy for certain diseases, and Parkinson's is one of those. So they say, oh yes, we will cover physical therapy for maintaining someone's level of function, because they need to see someone who is skilled in what physical therapists do in order to get what they need. So like for MS and other neurologic diseases that are progressive, Medicare does allow maintenance therapy.
And what is the longevity on that?
So the maintenance,
Yes.
honestly, so depends on the individual, and depends on if you have traditional Medicare or a replacement plan. As long as the therapist is documenting that appropriately, it can be once a week for years, it can be twice a week. The idea is you're maintaining a certain level. If the person gets to a point where they don't need the skilled services of a therapist to maintain their level, then that's when they're discharged and progress to a wellness program or something like that. So it's highly individual as to how long that could be. I did see a woman for a full year who lived in Messiah Village, and for maintenance therapy, actually, and in her case, it was trying to keep her in her independent living situation so she didn't have to progress to the long-term care section.
Wow, just that alone makes it worth it so that you don't have to go from that point to the other point.
Right.
Right, and it depends on where you are in your, you know, in the progression of your disease. But think about, when you think about the activities you choose, think about, like we talked about treadmill walking. You said that Gil's wife, I missed your name.
Laura,
Laura, okay, I'm sorry. You walk on the treadmill or outside. That's excellent. Biking is good. Dancing is fantastic for people who have Parkinson's disease because of the rhythmicity of the movement and certain, I'm not a good, I don't know a lot about music terminology, but the beat and the tempo
Yeah.
helps facilitate smoothness of motion. So that's another thing you could dance with each other in, or by yourself in your home now,
we have done that. We have
since you
done
can't get
that
out.
quite regularly.
Yes. Tai
That
Chi is
dance
another
in your
great
chair?
exercise.
You could dance in your chair.
Yes, you can. And that's just it. So I have people who do large amplitude upper body movements who aren't safe to be doing those things standing.
Right.
And those are things you could do in your chair if it's not safe for you to be upright, you know, for whoever that might be. Tai Chi is another excellent activity because of the rhythmicity, the rhythmic motion, and the weight shifting and the balance incorporates all those things. So what you want is something that's challenging your balance and is not just, so you don't want something that you can do brainlessly, because that isn't going to be as good for your brain.
You want to
So-
encourage.
Yes, there you go. So you want to do, in when you're talking about a physical activity, bicycling is good, but some people tend to just kind of bicycle and space out. So if you're changing sort of the resistance on a stationary bike, you will find that to be more stimulating for your brain and help your be more effective than just bicycling at a steady pace.
Or also
So that-
walking with cones in front of you.
Yeah.
Somebody keeps changing the sequence of the cones.
Yes, so that it isn't mindless. So you're actually having to
Right.
work your brain. The other thing is working on split attention tasks.
Right.
So can I walk and, you know, like
Chew
I
gum.
joke, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time because I'll trip. You know, like things like that. Can I walk and toss a ball between my hands? All of those things work your
Well, I
brain
used
that
to
way.
be able to do, I used to be able to multitask a
Mm-hmm.
lot, especially in the kitchen and in the house.
Mhm.
And I can't do that anymore. I've got to narrow it down to 2 or 3 things.
And
it's
in that case, and that is tough, but one thing we need to do, and one thing that everyone needs to do is realize where your limits are. So Laura, for you, probably that's a very good, safe thing to do, because if you try and do too many things, that increases your risk for falls, right? So as much as we want to challenge our balance and our nervous system, we need to realize when something is not safe. And that is different for everyone.
well, I put safety first.
And everybody needs to. Yes, you do. And
But
that's why
sometimes I miscalculate.
I'm sure we all do. But that's why seeing a therapist or someone who has experience who can say, you know what, we've worked on this here. I feel safe with you doing this at home. But yet, so you're not doing something just off the cuff, deciding to do something that you're like, well, we'll see if this works, and putting yourself at risk.
Mhm.
Do you want to minimize that?
How long is the program that you offer?
Well, so the wellness program that we're starting will be a sequence. We haven't decided if it'll go for like 8 weeks, then we'll take a few weeks off and then another 8 weeks. So that's for what we call wellness, and that would be a minimal fee that you pay. Physical therapy, that obviously fluctuates depending on the needs of the person. So there is no set time. That's what a plan is developed with between the therapist and the individual to see what is needed. The wellness program, like Megan runs the Loud Crowd, and that's an ongoing thing. What we thought we would do with the flexibility, balance, and strengthening wellness program that should be coming out this summer is do it in like a 6 to 8 week programming or something, and then give people a break from it. And then they could do it again, if they wanted to or not when the next session started. But we thought that might be maybe more interesting to people, and then we could change up how we're doing things so that it doesn't get boring.
Right. Now, is this within a group or is this individual?
That would be within a group.
So it's within a group. And where are you
Yes.
located?
So we are on the Rittner Highway in Carlisle. So it used to be Gold's Gym. It's by the Pizza Grill and Knisely's. It's on your way out of Carlisle as you're going toward Shippensburg, but it's just outside of town. It is called Platinum Fitness. It's a gym, and we rent a space in Platinum Fitness where we have therapy equipment, and we do our speech and physical therapy here. Excuse me. Platinum Fitness also has a group fitness room that they allow us to use if for our groups. So like right now I run an osteoporosis group for women or individuals who are diagnosed with osteoporosis or osteopenia, to get them, it's an 8-week course to get them set on what they can do that's safe and understand how to load their bones appropriately to improve bone mass. And so that's about 5 people right now. So we can do that in our space. If my next session, if that's bigger, I can do it in the group fitness space. So it's really nice because the camaraderie, and just like the support group you have here, the engagement and people saying, oh, I do this and that works for me, is really, really nice. So the idea behind these is to provide support, and that's why they are group-based, to provide support for each other so people can get to know each other.
Yeah, that's why I started doing this as soon as possible, because you can't go out to your house. You miss all those meetings.
Exactly. And for the emotional connection, we're
Right.
all feeling so terribly isolated.
Hmm.
Right.
My kids are on FaceTime with their friends like until 2 in the morning. I have a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old because, they can't see them. And it's we don't realize the emotional toll it takes.
Right. We were very lucky. My sister, who's in New York, she got my mom, who's in San Antonio, she got her grandpad. So everybody connects with my mother. And my mother's not computer savvy, but we can all call her. She just picks it up, and we can all download pictures for her and see her every day. So we're very fortunate that we did that. Now that this thing that's going on, even loved ones that are in nursing homes, you can't, if my mother was in a nursing home, I would be horrified because I wouldn't be able to see her.
I know. Isn't that
And
terrible?
even if she was in a nursing home, I would make sure, I would be, lucky that if she had a grandpad, you can at least still connect with them. And that, I think this going forward, that's going to be a very big thing with this crisis.
I think so too. I think so, very much so.
I think our lifestyles will be changed.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Now, how are you all handling grocery stores and things like that? Have you been going?
I haven't been going. We have been getting delivery, but that's fraught. You don't know what to touch and what not to touch.
Uh-huh.
No.
Right.
I went to the one that's like a block away during their senior hour, and my daughter got extremely upset with me. She and her sister kind of put us on lockdown,
Yeah.
but she's been getting groceries since then.
We, me and Warren, since we have so many grandchildren, we have a pool, We
Mhm.
happen to have a big freezer and 2 refrigerators. And I grew up always buying in bulk
Yeah.
and cooking food and
Mm-hmm.
separating it and freezing it. So even Warren today mentioned that I'm using all the appliances that I have to wash them and take the dust off of them because I'm doing a lot of cooking. I bought in bulk like hamburger meat, and so I cook it, make spaghetti, and I freeze everything. So
That's great.
honestly, me and Warren wouldn't have to leave the house, I would say, for 3 weeks. We'd be okay.
Yeah, I think other than like milk or eggs or something, yeah, we're pretty well set for weeks.
Yeah.
I like Gil's dancing there in the background.
But we're lucky. Me and Warren's downstairs in his office. I'm upstairs in my office. And we can go for hours and not see each other except bypass each other for the bathroom or when Warren says, "What are we eating?" You know.
Well,
We-
that's important because I have 2 teenagers at home
Oh,
and
yeah.
we all have to go to our corners because it's not pretty sometimes.
Right. My daughter calls her house the compound.
Yeah. That's funny. That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, try and stay active and move as much as you can in your house. And it's going to take deliberate effort for all of us, I think, initially. But if you can create a habit, you
Right.
know, before you sit down to eat, everybody does sit to stands from their chair, you know, I mean,
Right.
and I will need to take my own advice because I have not increased my exercise. I've certainly increased my eating.
Oh, we all have. Warren says we're all going to gain 19 pounds.
Yeah, that's why they named it the
Yeah. We're all going to
19.
gain 19
Yeah,
pounds.
probably.
19
Kind
pounds.
of thankful. I think my scale's on the fluey. It's not working. It's showing me at least 5 pounds less than I know I am.
No, you know what Warren said? He came down and told me that I'm washing his t-shirts in hot water because they shrunk. But they Great.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's true.
But the good information that you gave, that if you can tell Warren, it's like if I say, okay, I want to go see a physical therapist, but I just need the one that you said, you know, because not
Yeah,
all
direct
physical
access,
therapists
yeah.
are the same. So if you could send that to Warren, plus
Yep.
this is being recorded, which is going to be great. So he can send it out. Honey, you're going to send it out as a podcast, right?
I think I'll leave it up as a webinar
Okay.
Okay.
because it's not
That'll
really a
be great
podcast.
because-
And then
Because-
Warren, I will send you just some attachment of some basic, like not a big exercise program, but just some basic things that would be
Right.
beneficial that you can email out to
Yeah, that'd be
people in
good.
your group.
Yeah.
To just be like, hey, these are some things, you know, and everyone needs to do them within their own limitations. So nothing I give you should ever hurt. You might feel a little stretched, but that should go away. So nothing I recommend you do should ever cause any
Right.
pain or prolonged irritation at all. So make sure that you're not overdoing it.
So Chris,
Do you have any
Chris, your
Go ahead.
profession's the only one that has to touch people. Like
I'm
everybody,
all over people.
everybody else, like my doctor, if you show him something on your skin, he never touches it. He just goes like an inch away and looks at it. Dentists don't.
funny.
Everybody else is gowned up in gloves.
So yeah, in my personal life, I'm not a big invade someone's personal space kind of
Right.
person, but it's like I become a different person in my professional life.
Right.
I have no problem getting all over someone when it's appropriate and needed. But you know, yes, we're very much on, you know, touching people, helping facilitate motor movement that's
Right.
appropriate. And if you're seeing someone who isn't doing that, they probably aren't doing as good of a job for you as they should.
Right.
So that's something to think about too.
Because you've got to sort of use your weight and sort of use a pulley sometimes.
And
to
also, just to facilitate so what's considered normal or optimal movement, I need to help people to engage certain muscles in a certain way. It doesn't all happen naturally, especially if there's an injury or an illness. And so to tell someone to do 20 repetitions of an exercise is not effective if they're not doing the exercise correctly and using the correct
Right.
muscle groups.
So they should put you on TV as the caregivers.
I'm a face for radio. That's what my husband says. He's a professor at Dickinson and is trying to teach his classes online now.
Uh-huh.
And he said he has a face for radio. So I stole that from him.
We
Wow.
appreciate you doing this.
Gil
Lori,
and
yes,
I have an appointment with our doctor. And we're thinking about telephoning in. And I wondered if you had any advice or questions that should be addressed.
With your doctor during a telephone visit.
A GP.
I would just recommend always writing down what your questions are in a notebook so you can keep track of it and writing down the answers. Is it just for a regular visit or is it specific to something that you're having an issue with?
Old
Old
age.
age?
Old age.
Well, yes.
Huh.
I think the big thing is making sure that you feel you're getting all of your needs met in terms of, is someone looking at all of your medications and making sure that what you're taking is appropriate and needed. So you, in my mind, that's the role of a family doctor, right? To be the champion of and coordinate everyone else that you see. I don't know that that happens as much now as it used to.
Right.
We're
But that's
trying to.
what I would expect.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much that you could do as an internist, because they usually check your ears and your eyes and your heart and your lungs. Like, I don't think you could really do that over the phone.
Or telemedicine? Are a lot of
Yeah.
doctors going to be going into telemedicine because they're taking care of people who are going in infected? So they're
don't
kind of
know.
holding off on a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah.
So I know my mom is supposed to have a visit with her cardiologist. She's 82. And they are doing telehealth visits because
Right.
they aren't allowing people to come in. He is going to take the opportunity he needs to look to see if she's got some swelling and things like that, which he
Right.
can't touch, but he could see.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you can't have someone check their own heart rate if they don't know how, or blood pressure, or temperature. So,
Right.
yeah, I do think that the effectiveness of those visits is limited, but it's good for emergency type situations.
Right.
Yeah, with Parkinson's, it's good because you can see if they're changing their shakiness or their
Yes.
gait or things like that.
Because
That's-
the doctor could watch you walk across a room
Right.
maybe,
Right. At least
and
sort
talk
of.
about medications and what might need to be altered
Right.
a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Those are good points.
All right.
So-
Well, this is great.
Yeah. So I don't know. You see,
I
you have a lot.
appreciate-
You have a lot to talk about, don't you? You said you have different.
I could talk about things related to Parkinson's and movement for a long time, and
Right.
but I don't want to. I've monopolized your group time here plenty, and I don't mean to do that. I just feel like I have a lot of information to
Yeah,
share.
that's appreciated.
Megan and I as our business evolves, our goal is to hopefully become resources also to direct people to other practitioners that have a similar philosophy, or to help caregivers in finding resources down the line. Now that won't be anytime soon, but because what we feel like is lacking out there is people who have a knowledge base to say, look, this is someone who's good for that. Or this company is great for if you need a caregiver or a respite care and things like that. So, because people get overwhelmed. We have a woman who came in who joined my osteoporosis group because she was bringing her husband in for therapy, and she saw we were doing that, and she's loved the group, and we were able to help her to find caregivers so that she could attend the group when and leave her husband at home safely. And that is just as, if not more important than the therapy that we could provide the husband, because it helped them both.
Right.
And that's important.
Good.
We've been told by people in the Parkinson area that we should have movement disorder neurologists, but there are only one or two in Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And it just seems like the visits are to give you another dose of something.
And they're every 6 months.
Mhm.
Yes, if they're that much.
Mm.
Right.
And that's
I-
why I think the support group is helpful, because people can share their experiences that may be good or bad, and you can all learn from that. And also, you know, when you see a therapist, speech therapist, physical therapist, occupational therapist, counselor, psychotherapist type person, you're seeing them for much longer, either duration of time and also per visit. So they get to know you more and know more about you and can provide more kind of personalized ideas about things.
You're going to see the changes.
Yes, and that can be helpful. So I don't know sometimes that relying on your doctor other than for the medications and to direct your care, they might not be the person, the health practitioner that can provide ongoing support. And that comes, I feel, from more like people like myself or Megan or, you know, those kinds of things, people like
I
that.
think you're right.
Yeah, definitely.
But we just haven't, as professionals, we treat the people we see, we haven't done a really good job of trying to get the word out there to say, look, this is what we can do to help people. And if we do, it depends on the personality of the physician as to whether they listen or not.
True.
Mhm.
Well, this is good though, because I mean, this will go out to a lot of people who obviously didn't make it to this meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm certainly, if people have questions, I will give my email address, or Warren has my personal email and our work email. And certainly, even if people just have questions, you know, hey, I'm not sure, what do you think about this? I am not going to tell people, oh, you all need to come in to see me for therapy. That's not at all what I am about. You know, if
Mhm.
there's something that I think, oh, yes, worth talking to your doctor about, or yes, maybe a therapy would be helpful, or try doing something, you know, in a different way, I certainly can be a resource for that. And I appreciate you being willing to have me talk, because like I said, based on doing this for all these years, I can look at someone's movement patterns and tell you what's not working right and what isn't, just because that's what I've done for 25 years. If you ask me about financial advice, I won't be able to help you because I have known nothing about any of that. But you know what I mean? It's what I do for a living, and I love what I do. So now when it comes to finances, I'm not your person.
As far as going to the patient's houses, when are you going to start that back up again?
So it depends. I think we're kind of waiting to see what the governor has to say, or if we get any national, you know, guidance. We certainly aren't opposed if someone does need to have therapy. Now, Megan tends to see people here in the clinic. I will see someone in their home if they feel like they can't go out, or if getting out is a hardship for them. And that's on a case-by-case basis. So it's not like we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Just doing it sort of selectively now, because in terms of my family or what I introduce into your household, that's, you know, what we need to be concerned about.
All right. So before we promote this too much, we probably should wait and see.
Yeah,
Because-
certainly people can still come to therapy
Yeah.
here. Because we are a clinic where you only one person and therapist are in here at a time, or
Mhm.
potentially if Megan has a speech client, you're not entering a room that has been filled with 20 or 30 people at a time.
Right.
So
Right.
I do feel like in terms of isolation and not spreading germs, we are actually in an ideal situation for that. So we're still seeing people. It would be the matter of driving here.
Right.
The gym actually is closed right now, so we're so when people walk through the space, they're not touching anything and no one else is here.
Mhm.
Right.
So we
think-
certainly can continue to do visits here in the therapy space.
Right.
I think the Department of Health, they were talking to certain businesses. Like if you're not sure if you can like open up, I think the Department of Health has a certain number that you can call to find out if that can be done.
Well, therapy facilities are considered ambulatory facilities, what they're calling them, ambulatory outpatient facilities, and they are listed as essential and to remain open.
Okay,
So we know we can. We are choosing to just base it on the comfort level of our individual clients.
correct. Okay,
So yeah,
I
so
know
we can stay open.
Good.
right. I think the House just passed that 2.2 trillion virus relief bill. They just passed it.
Which is helpful for us as a small business who isn't
Right.
generating any revenue during this time, but still paying rent and things like that. Obviously, for any small business, that becomes an issue. Restaurants,
Right.
anything like that.
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming in. And how about doing a podcast sometime in the future?
Sure, that
You
would
wanna
be
do that?
great.
Good,
Yeah. So if
You just have
anybody
to
thinks,
tell me what to do.
good.
if anybody thinks of any questions that they may, after this conversation, they can always submit them to Warren or something, and then
Yeah,
we
Mhm.
set up something again.
That sounds terrific. And Warren, if you have the email addresses of your group, you can even
Mhm.
just forward what I send you to the group members.
yeah, I'll do that.
And I'll include our Facebook page and our website and our phone number and all
Good.
that. And that way people can just get in touch with us. But yeah,
Good.
I really appreciate
Great.
it. And I'm certainly more than happy to be a resource for anyone who needs,
Great.
any advice as far as healthcare movement, all those things.
Good, thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so if you want to click that, you have an end meeting button? in there?
I believe I do.
All
Oh,
righty.
leave meeting. Yep. Okay.
that's
Take
it.
care, everybody.
Bye.
Wash your hands.
Good, see ya.